Hey, am I good? Yeah.
Um, Natalie called me and let me know that the stream is live right now, so we don't get to like play around on YouTube for a bit. I don't think it's connected to the Zoom yet, so we're not showing up on YouTube right now. But I just want to know that once we get going, that's it. So shouldn't really change too much. Everything else is the same. But I guess that's the only, we were trying to fiddle with like the activation times and it just started a little earlier. No big deal.
All right. Well, I'm trying to open up the Zoom now.
Okay. I do appreciate it.
Oh, I'm on the Zoom. Okay. Not the Zoom, the YouTube. I'm on the Zoom because you obviously see me.
Yeah.
Okay. I'm going to hang up the phone because we got a lot of things going on here.
Okay. All right. I'll do that. I appreciate it.
Will they see chat?
All righty. I think it's about that time.
We are counting down. I've got 6:55. People are coming in, ready to show us how smart they are.
We'll just have to see. Anyone else here from the Central Standard Time of 6:55?
Central Standard Time.
It's hard to plan with East Coast and Central, and then people in California and the West Coast. We didn't want to have them play trivia at 10 in the morning, so we figured this is a good middle ground.
They're used to it.
Goodness.
I think I like some of these names coming up. Genius Raccoon.
They're all randomly generated.
I know. I was really trying hard to be Boeing Beach Bum.
Yeah. See, when they're when you can type them in, you can type anything, which can be good and bad.
Yeah, you know our alumni. They would never do anything inappropriate.
That's on it. Good. Wait exactly until 7 to kick it off.
Okay.
I have some slides with some information. So I'm going to hit start, but we can still log in and it'll show the game pin at the bottom. And it's also in the YouTube chat if you can't get to it.
Well, good. That'll be good for everybody.
Mm-hmm.
I only see my picture on the YouTube Zoom.
Yeah, it only shows up when I start talking for a little while longer.
There you go.
There I am. You can see me looking at my phone. I got the live stream so I can hear what everyone is yelling at me for. I keep a thumb on the pulse, right?
All right, well, they're coming in.
Yeah. How'd that turn out? I'm ready for some trivia.
Well, yeah, that's a pretty broad range of trivia that we got going tonight.
Yeah.
I mean, I think we cover just about every period of drum corps. Well, of DCI drum corps.
And it's not all Crossmen stuff. There's all kinds of wars and information on here. Now, it might be a little biased, but we do have a good range.
That's true. Oh, and it's just going to get better. Bigger all the time.
Better every day.
That's what Rough Bass used to say. Amongst other inspiring stories.
No, there's no way of knowing, but is everyone in the game right now, are they also watching the live stream? Because we have plenty of information for people who just have the quiz in front of them. So it should be all inclusive. There's enough, background and slides and information. So if they don't hear us talking, that's okay. They're not missing out on anything. But if you are watching this stream, there is a bit of a delay, but I think we've got it all ironed out. So we will get the questions read at the right times. And when it's all said and done, just keep an eye on the quiz, because that's where the most up-to-date information is. These questions are time sensitive. So that's where your main focus should be. But
are you saying there might be technical difficulties? Like, getting the electronics to start on the pit at the beginning of a show?
It happened in 2015. We almost got knocked out of finals for it. Yeah, it happens. But the show must go on. Alrighty.
Sturdy Eddie is on.
Ooh, I can boot anybody from the game, so you guys better be on your best behavior.
Yeah.
Right. Alrighty. If I didn't know any better, I'd say that's around 7 o'clock. So I'm going to go ahead and hit start. Boot at work, since that's where we are. There is a countdown, but it goes right to a slide, so there's not a question yet. So I just wanted to say thank you very much for registering. My name is Tim Stevenson. I marched 11 through 15 Crossmen on the baritone. I'm now a board of directors, so I get to enjoy being an alumni and enjoy setting up some of these fundraisers for everybody. And I'm joined with my co-host, Doug Stemmett. Doug, if you want to tell a little about yourself.
Sure. I marched 75 through 77. Back then, I was a soprano player, which today would be a trumpet player. And I came from Keystone Regiment, so I was part of the merger group. I taught a little bit after that with the Corps for several years, and now I'm also on the board of directors. So, fun times. We kind of represent bookends.
Just about. Mostly modern, I'd say mostly, and then the origin. So real interesting stuff. I think that was one of my favorite things of going through the questions and getting to know everybody on my team. Just kind of, where it all started and how much there is to know, which there's always something.
Absolutely.
So, if we go back to the slide here, this fundraiser is very special. We do a lot of fundraisers these days, but this money goes directly to member scholarships. So we don't buy instruments, we don't buy trucks, we don't pay for anything. It goes directly to scholarships. So all the stuff that we fundraise for, it's for the members, but this one is the most direct path. So it means the most to me to be able to make sure that the right members are at the right place. I think, if at the end of the day, it's all about the kids. And so making sure it's all inclusive. That's really important.
Yeah, and I think it was important that we separate, this event to be just for scholarships, just for members, because so often that can get kind of confusing. Where's the money going to? But you've said it well. It's going to membership dues. We've got a scholarship committee set up, and as that money comes in, we're going to be able to distribute it. And the more people that contribute to these special scholarship events, the more we can help all the members.
And so far, I think we have just under $400. So that's fantastic. Every little bit helps. That goes to someone who, wants to march Crossmen and they have the right talent. And we're trying to remove as many barriers of entry as possible. And this is the first step. So thank you guys so much for everything and for being here and for making this a reality. With that said, if you have any questions or concerns, or if you have some trivia questions to submit, you can email me, tim@crossmen.org. And if your question gets featured and it has the right question and it's verified, we can put it on the next trivia game and we'll give you guys a shout out. I think it'll be a lot of fun. More people involved. Okay, next here. Now this is very important. Kahoot rules. Right answers gets you points, wrong answers doesn't, and it's time sensitive. The quicker you answer, the higher points you get. There's 30 seconds to answer, so you have all that time to think about it, but like I said, it's time sensitive. And there are 15 questions. The highest score at the end wins the prizes.
So you got to be quick.
Got to be quick. If you get disconnected, you can see the game pin at the very bottom here. And it's already going in the chat if you are paying attention to that. So there is plenty of time, just as fast as possible. Don't miss any questions. And if you do, just don't be afraid to come back or else you miss out on the fun. And that's the real prize here. I think that's about everything. Never too late.
Interestingly enough, we mentioned the the penalty that we almost got in 2015 because of our technical difficulties, which we will not have tonight. But we happen to have the person online viewing this who was the one who technically needed to assess that penalty if we were to go over the limit. So we appreciate that. The clock worked in our favor. Honestly, it was the right clock. It was true, but it did work in our favor. So we thank you, Scott.
Absolutely. My goodness. All righty. Well, let's go ahead and get started with question number 1. We'll start off with an easy one, at least I think. So here we go. How many world-class drum corps are in existence currently? To my knowledge, there's a whole lot more that used to be out there. So these numbers are a little low in my taste, but that's just the way the modern era is going.
Well, we used to have several more days of prelims, and even before DCI, there were hundreds of corps, and we would have all day, 2 days of nothing but prelims from 8 in the morning. An inspection. Thank goodness we don't have that.
There we go. The right answer is 22. And here are the scores. Genius Raccoon. That name is very appropriate right now. So the right answers get you the points, but as fast as possible, you have to, I think it's out of 1,000. So the quickest that you know, I'll have to find out who Genius Raccoon is. You might know it a little too much. Currently, there's 22 on the website, and there's 24 open class corps, which is a little higher than I remember, but there can always be more.
Well, they've made the entry into starting a corps a little easier for open class corps. So they're building, and I think some of it's even coming out of Sound Sport.
Absolutely. There's 3 main branches you can get into, and they're all very, very inclusive and a lot of fun, it looks like. So speaking of local drum corps and things like that, let's move on to the next question. What parade was co-produced by Crossmen Guard staff alumni Todd Marachi? There is a hint in the picture if you haven't answered already. We're getting some donations rolling in. Fantastic, you guys. I do appreciate it.
I marched in this parade and way back. We've got pictures of the Crossmen marching in this.
There you go. Looks like everyone got the hint. Let's see who got it first. All right, Adorable Horse is running around front. Genius Raccoon's taking second, and we got some arrows going upwards. So like I said, anything can happen. If you get the right answers, it's all about the timing. So good deal. So Todd Marachi, there's a whole article about him on the parade website about how he drove a couple hours to see the parade and thought the Crossmen were the coolest thing ever. And then the next year he got to play cymbals in that parade. And then later on came back to be on the design team for the Guard, which I think is super cool.
Todd has a company out on the East Coast, out of Westchester, I believe, because he still works with the Westchester University Golden Ram Marching Band that so many of the early Crossmen came from. He's one of the designer and guard people there, but his production team also runs several parades. I know he's done the Cherry Blossom Festival in Washington, D.C. and some events in Chicago. So it's a great organization that one of our alumni and former staff people just keep going.
Yeah.
Todd Marcacci, he had some good guards with us too.
Yeah, those are some good years if I remember correctly. Moving on down the line, speaking of really good guards, What corps separated and created their own stage production and performed with Canadian brass? There's always a couple answers that are just a little outlandish, but there's some that could be close. We'll see. Anything can happen. Who's going to answer it first? Mind the trademark. Always have to have the trademark. There we go. The Star of Indiana. Let's check out the scores. Ooh, big jump, Excited Goose, and Bold Goose ran around at the bottom. So anything can happen. It's all about the timing, I'm telling you.
Blast has a pretty good connection to Crossmen too. Tom Hannum, who was a charter member with me in Crossmen, a snare drummer. He was one of the designers and percussion lead for Blast. Jim Prime and Donnie Van Doren, who both taught Crossmen at one point, were very influential. And I know that we've had quite a few Crossmen alumni perform with Blast throughout its history.
I would say you're right. It was fun to research this one. There's a lot of interviews and things on YouTube that I got to watch, and so they wanted to separate back in 1992. They just knew they were destined for greatness to kind of get off the marching field and into the theaters. And so it was really, they used the same uniforms that they had in 1993. So there's the Canadian brass, who are basically in, like tuxedos and orchestra, and then Star of Indiana. And they were just marching around with the same uniform. So it's just a really cool mix of both worlds. It was very interesting stuff. Really, really fun history.
I was fortunate to be able to see them on Broadway.
Oh, there you go. That's on my bucket list. I definitely need to check that out. All right. Speaking of alumni, the next question, popular rapper Snoop Dogg marched in the Mandarins. I've heard this one for a long time, and it was just a popular thing to say. But is it true? That's up to you guys.
Well, he's got the rhythm.
It is false. You got that one right. Excited Goose with the streak going. Good for you. Yeah. We're thinking about unstable. Oh, I really wanted this one to be true, but I just don't know. I haven't heard any evidence of it. So if I ever see Mr. Dog somewhere, then that's the first thing I'll ask him, and I will get that in writing because I need to know this very badly. That'd be super cool. There are a lot of famous alumni from DCI, but I think that would definitely take the cake. That is very interesting.
Chick Corea marched in drum corps up in the Boston area.
Yep, there's ties to everybody, but this one apparently he played mellophone in the early 80s, but until he says it himself or we get confirmation, hate to hear it. But moving on to what is real, our next question, name the only corps to win Division II and World Class finals. There's the World Class and there's Open Class. And then the third one, very recently, they added Sound Sport. So any way we can get more groups involved, the better, I think. It's all about the members and it's always about the music and the crowds. So the more ensembles we have, the funner it gets.
Yeah, I hear there may be some even exciting new things coming down the road from DCI in the future.
Hopefully so. I'm very excited for that. Carolina Crown, that's correct. Horrible Horse pulling forward again. Oof. That was another a very quick answer. 4,000 points.
Another big Crossman connection there. The director, Jim Coates, taught with me back in the day. He taught Crossman in the early 80s, and then he was the corps director.
Absolutely right. So they started in 1988, and they're the Division II championships in 1993, which is an excellent year. That was the year I was born. And then in 94, they were Division I, and they made 11th place in finals in 1995. So it's the perfect rags to riches story. They never looked back, and they won their first championship in 2013, which was a very good show also.
Yeah. Amazing horn line.
Good stuff. So we already mentioned horn line. Now let's move on to the drum line. What Crossmen alumni became a finalist caption head 2 years after aging out?
That was a big hint.
That was a big hint. So some of these names are awfully big in the activity, but I think that was a very big hint too. If the picture doesn't give it away, me blabbering about it definitely will. Oh, there you go. I see in the comments there's someone who hasn't marched yet, but plan to march next summer.
That's great.
That'd be fantastic. So any place you pick, there's no such thing as a bad experience. It's whatever you make of it. So I definitely had a lot of fun with it.
Hey, who knows? Maybe there's a scholarship in his future or her future. I don't know.
Whoever it is.
That's right.
And the correct answer is Mark Thurston. Let's see the scores. Oh, I was wrong. I thought it was far enough, but 200 points. It's all about the timing, folks. Bold Goose coming back, I think, from the bottom. So there you go. Anything can happen. It is competitive. So Mark Thurston aged out in 1982 and was called back on the caption head in 1984, and they made 10th place, which is higher than I ever made, but that's okay. Ancient history. And this next question is a lot of fun. It comes directly from the Museum of Drum and Bugle Corps History Facebook page, who's been really great. We reached out to them to help promote this whole trivia night. They posted this, and I think we have a good answer. Which corps was the first to use props on the field?
Yeah, I know there's a lot of debate about this one.
This was a big, hot topic on that page. There was hundreds of comments, and everyone said, well, we had these, and we had this, and that's good and all, but I think the parachute here counts as the first real prop, especially compared to the props that we have nowadays. They're all big and expensive, very, very heavy.
Yeah, you need separate trucks just for the props, and a construction crew and an electrician.
Alrighty. No one picked the Blue Devils, but the Seneca Optimist was the right answer. Say you got it. Smart Sea Lion, all the way up at the top. Good stuff. Yeah, 1977, according to that post, they were the first corps to use props as we know it. Made 9th place with a score of 82.4. Which also, that show's on YouTube. A lot of fun to watch. I felt very generally affected when I watched it. They were all the horn line was underneath it, and they had a conductor up front, and they played through it. And
it was pretty cool, and we went head to head with them several times during the summer, and that was our first year to make finals too.
See, I just watched it on YouTube, and Doug was actually there, so there's same different experience, but the same information.
That's just because I'm so old.
Alrighty. Next question. Which song from the Crossmen 1990 show was played at warm-up and encore beginning in 2008? This one was a real crowd favorite. I love putting a question on there with an answer that's just a little outlandish.
We noticed. There's some good story behind this dancer as well.
Sure. I think it was already in the comments too.
Yeah, Yeah, it was. Somebody made the comment. It actually would perhaps be a good trivia question for the future, but we may give it away now.
There you go. Well, we can use this to study. Baroque Samba is the right answer. Birdland was awfully close. They did play that a whole lot. I just missed that one.
And the comment that came in is something that we were going to talk about, and that is the drummer for New York Voices, a cool jazz vocal group that produced Baroque Samba and some other great music. The whole show was New York Voices, and the drummer was Tommy Igoe, and he marched Bridgman. He actually came in and talked to the corps at one point as well. So it was pretty cool to have that connection with New York Voices from their own drummer, but also that he was a drum corps guy, and he marched in some of the amazing Bridgman drum lines.
Absolutely. A lot of fun to watch. That's definitely a crowd favorite. It's still talked about. We watch it all the time on the bus when we can. And speaking of historic shows, let's move on to the next question. Which corps was allowed a victoryless victory run? Lots of thinking on this one. Lots of thinking. So I think this is worth explaining. There is, in full corps retreat after finals, the last competition of the season, all of the corps line up on the field, and then they announce the scores, and then the champion takes the field, and they get to do an encore after everything's said and done. And of course, the right answer is Star of Indiana. We'll get to that in a second.
Yeah, it was really a sign of respect by the cadets to Star of Indiana to let them perform. I mean, cadets did perform their encore performance after that, but it was a really classy move by the cadets that evening. Back in the day, we all used to play off. It was we would be out there parade, and we would parade off of retreat, and we played Russian a lot. We play, different people would play their core songs, and you would always pass in review by the champion. That was kind of how we did it then. But eventually, because it took like 9 hours to get everybody off the field, they reduced that to saying, "Get off the field, cadets, or whoever the champion is. The field is yours."
I have a quick story about that. My rookie year in 2011, we had a show that was like, wouldn't it be cool if we all did a full corps retreat? And there was only like 5 or 6 corps. And there was an open class group that they practiced marching off the field. So we all played our corps song down the line. They played first and they marched off. And so we were kind of standing next to them like, oh, I guess it's our turn. And we just kind of stood there, and they were long gone in the buses, and we were still waiting for everyone. And there was mosquitoes that night and everything. So,
I hear there may be some pretty cool things this year in Indianapolis at the special events, bringing back perhaps some of those types of post-show activities. I'm excited for that.
it'll be a lot of fun. All righty. Next question, please. Ed McMahon was in the board of directors for which drum corps? Ed McMahon. Very interesting stuff. Right about, he wasn't an alumni, but he was in the same area. But it's all about who you know, not what you know. Very interesting story.
I guess you could have posed that question as Karnak for all you Johnny Carson fans.
There you go. Good to know. I'll put that on the next quiz. All righty. Quick scores update. It looks like a clear winner here, but like I said, anything can happen. One question can swing a lot of points. It's all about the timing. Only named defenders reached out to Ed McMahon in 1980, and he agreed to be on the board of directors. And the article I read said he didn't really do a ton of work. It was more for the notoriety, but I'm sure he did his part. He's a very great guy. So, really interesting stuff. It's, who you can get involved with the activity. And once you mention the story of drum corps and kind of what it's for and how it's about the members, it's really easy to get people involved. And it's a real wholesome activity.
They were Holy Name Defenders were up from the New England area. They were one of the great corps up there. There used to be, 30, 40 corps just in the New England area.
All righty. 5 more questions left, and then we're done. Next one, please. What corps did the Drum Corps Hall of Fame name the greatest all-girl corps of all time? When I first started out, I didn't know that apparently there's a whole division, or there used to be, of just all-girl corps, and it was the thing to do. We have some all-male corps with Cavaliers and Madison Scouts who recently changed their policies, but I never heard of this. I think that'd be so interesting.
Oh yeah, we had 3 or 4 all-girl corps just in our circuit. The Bells of St. Mary, there was, St. Ignatius, Audubon that you list here. They were all part of our circuit.
Widespread on this one, so goodness gracious. But the correct answer is the bonbons.
Audubon bonbons. People don't realize how great some of those corps were. At one point in the 50s or 60s, they actually placed second in horns at nationals. They were pretty spectacular. I was lucky enough when I first started teaching to be able to go over there and over to Audubon, New Jersey, and teach them. And because our first horn instructor, Ray Eiler, was also their longtime horn instructor that gave them their great brass sound. And we had a few of their members when they did close down, they disbanded, they came over to Crossmen. So we were lucky to get that talent.
There you go. No, don't let anyone tell you can't march somewhere and be great. It's really for everybody. It's an inclusive activity. And 4 more questions. This one is one of my personal favorites. What corps was the only one in Division II to perform the world-class finals? It's very interesting. Hopefully the picture won't give it away either. A lot of purple. Could mean anything. What do we think, guys? Magic Orlando. In the ranks, 400-point spread. That's a whole lot. Like I said, anything can happen. There's a streak going just before it. We'll see. So, Magic of Orlando, they went inactive in 1999. They were already finalists, and then they just dropped out. And so when they came back in 2002, they had all the resources and the talent, but they had to re-qualify for Division I. And so they basically blew it out of the water and almost made a perfect score in Div 2 and then jumped right into finals that same week. So, and I think one of the only corps from Florida to make DCI finals. Well,
there was Suncoast Sound before them that was, I think, as high as 6th place, just an amazing drum corps. There were some other drum corps from there, Florida Wave, taught by some Crossmen, and then they're in the early 2000s up through 2012, we had Teal Sound, which did some revolutionary stuff. They had the first violin out there and an iwi, which is an electronic, and they had a rock band travel with them on a stage in their show. But that was the last Florida corps to make finals, Magic of Orlando.
My goodness. Speaking of Florida, if we want to go there, which United States president purchased uniforms for the Boston Crusaders? Maybe that's an inside joke. Maybe it's not really a joke. I think it's a good idea.
Well, Boston Crusaders did have a pretty big Florida connection. They used to do a lot of camps down there. A lot of kids came from I think Tarpon Springs and some of the great bands down there, but they still, kept that moniker, Boston Crusaders,
Well,
BAC, back.
the weather's very nice, so I understand that. Having to fly up to Boston or the Massachusetts area. Great answer. Looks like everyone knew that one.
It was the Boston that did it.
Yeah, absolutely. And the picture, so it's real. But his brother Edward Kennedy was the main access, and they got the old uniforms. If my Zoom will let me watch it. Oh my gosh, I'm so embarrassed. They got their uniforms from West Point Military Academy in 1959. So they do look like traditional military uniforms, but that is so interesting. And they got to perform in the inaugural parade that year, which is very special too.
Very cool to have that privilege. A few other corps have played in inaugural parades, but I think having it, like that, where they got the uniforms and everything, just made it special.
Absolutely. It's all who you know.
So
Two more questions.
Pretty
True or
good question
false?
to know.
I will go to the top. True or false? In 1980, Bridgman's assistant drum major wore a chicken suit. Speaking of the Bridgman, they came up with this. DCI had an article about what shows and what costumes can be a Halloween costume, and this was definitely on the list. I don't know if it's just the picture, but everyone already answered. Yep. Trick question. Sorry, guys. No points. It was a duck suit. But they placed third that year. All the articles say that it was a chicken suit, but there is an actual DCI trivia book that stated it was a duck. So if it looks like a duck, swims like a duck, and quacks like a duck, then it probably marches Bridgman, as the saying goes.
And that was not the craziest thing the Bridgman did.
Not even that year.
Yeah. They were so much fun.
Lots of fun to watch. Alrighty, last question. There's a comment that says that's foul.
Oh.
Hilarious. Always a good time for a pun. Y'all ready for the last question? The wind swings in the balance. How many times have the Crossmen featured Russian Christmas music in their show?
Ooh. The Maytags. That's what we called our uniforms back then. The gray Maytags when we just started out. They were excellent. I still have my shirt. It almost fits my arm.
Yeah, we have played it a couple times, and we played a lot at parades now, and we're lucky enough to have drum and now ensemble, or the front ensemble, featured in it too. We played it 5 times in the actual productions. 1997, or 77, 78, 82, 83, and 2007. They played everything in 2007.
There were actually words written to that. The core director and Kim Robinson, his daughter, put words to Russian Christmas. And one of our rehearsals one time, Danita, my wife, taught the corps the Russian Christmas in solfege. For you music majors out there, that's do re mi. She taught the corps in solfege.
So interesting. Now, for the final scores after the instructional last slide. Thank you guys very much for donating and coming and having some fun with us, blow off some steam. We originally planned this to be on the tax filing day, but they moved it back. But it's still a lot of fun. Never a bad time for some trivia. But I wanted to thank Doug, my co-host, Natalie Steele for getting everything set up, and my team, Rick Reedy, Don Group, Josh Sears, Ed Carr, Kristen Cochran, and Chris Lee. All alumni of the Crossmen, all had great questions, all have their, I try to get everyone from all the different generations and everything. And it was all, I couldn't have done it without everybody. It was so much fun to, get their questions, do some research. Oh, that is kind of cool. And it just opens up a whole world of the activity that's given so much to me. So it's so much fun. There's so much to learn. And I had a blast doing this kind of stuff. Like I said, if you have any updates or questions, or if you want to rant about the chicken question, tim@crossman.org, you can absolutely reach out to me. And if you have any other questions that you want to reach out to, I'm all ears.
Yeah, I think this will be a great building event over the future to support the scholarship fund for the members, and I think we've got some exciting ideas that I've heard you tell that we're going to be, growing the game. So I'm looking forward to it.
Me too. Let's see what the scores are like. Sit back and watch. Bold Goose is the winner. Congratulations, Bold Goose. So, obviously, that's not your real name, but when you register for the quiz, we had you put in your email address, so we'll reach out to that email and get you your bragging rights and some cool Crossman merch. I think that'd be a lot of fun. I'm gonna stop sharing now.
Oh, look at this.
Here. All righty.
All right.